Is Tchouaméni actually going to leave Real Madrid? This is one of the stories that keeps coming up. We're going to go through the latest information on that one. Also, Matheus Fernandes. Are Spurs are Spurs a genuine threat? I can't say that about laughing. I think I saw the Spurs story about Mbeumo a year ago, and as far as I can see, right, Spurs might be interested, but I'm almost like laughing thinking about the possibility that Matheus Fernandes decides to leave the a Man United deal on the table and walk to Spurs. So that's not going to happen, but we'll talk about that as well. But welcome everyone to the Manchester United stream. We're going to be looking at the fixture list briefly to start with. And I think Man United actually, looking at the fixture list, like Sully posted this morning. I think most people would have already seen this anyway. So we'll have a very quick chat about this one. Hull City versus Manchester United, the game we're going to kick off the season with. Then we've got Ipswich Town. Man United have never lost an opening game to a team that's been promoted. I think we played like 12 games, 9 wins, 3 draws. So something to look forward to, hopefully, for Man United fans. Then away to Everton before we play City. I think actually that's a good start to the season. There's no reason why we can't be getting 9 points out of 9 to start with. And hopefully going into that City game near the top of the league would be great. I think looking at that fixture list, I'm quite happy with that one. Just to say, like I said, we'll talk about this for just a few minutes and then we'll move on to the stories. What are people thinking regarding like the fixture list primarily? Like, what are people's thoughts? Also, big up to Rob, United so I die. Pundit Cody in the chat as well. I think I saw a few other people, Daz and a few other legends in the chat. What were your thoughts, like Kenny, Scott, everybody else? What are your thoughts regarding the fixture list to start with? I think it's pretty good. I think that this fixture list, Man United can hit the ground running. If you remember a year ago, we played like 3 difficult games in the first 5. There was no easy start to the Premier League. It wasn't a straightforward beginning for the season. This feels a lot easier, and actually the running is actually quite good as well. Just to give you a few dates for key matches, because I think this is going to be the games that we're looking at for in terms of like how do we match against the best teams in the league. We have to wait till our fourth game against Man City, then November for Liverpool. So quite nicely spread out actually. You got maybe like just before Christmas we got Arsenal, we got Liverpool the end of January, then February, March. So no big games towards the end of the season either. So I think they're quite nicely spread out. I'm actually quite looking forward to this as well. So in terms of like anyone got any thoughts on this one as well? So Cody says I quite like the fixtures. It allows us to settle. And again, there's no guarantee that we're going to win all the games at the start of the season, but it does mean that Man United, if we're not quite firing on all cylinders, we should be comfortable going into those games. So I think that's quite good. We can kind of get a few games under our belt because we're going to probably have a quite a different midfield. So maybe a few games to kind of work things out before we play City. I mean, hopefully the preseason will give us that as well. But I think overall, like, if you can be positive about this one, then you have to say if you can be positive about fixture list, we can be positive, can't we? Morning Salia says we can win the league. Oh, so I'm going to be like say this. I can't say anything about winning the league. Like let's see what the transfer window brings to start with. We need to bring in significant improvements before we can talk about winning the league. I think that if we can like try and cement top, let's say if we can maintain our position near the top of the league and take whatever momentum we got last season, just keep like improving as a team, getting a bigger squad. I would be thinking, let's just keep on that path. I don't want to put too much expectation on the squad for the next season. I think we can definitely be closer, Sally. One of the questions I was talking to someone last night was, can we get like 8, 9 more points than we got this season? Can we try and improve on our points total, improve on our defence, goal scoring as well? So if we can improve everything, just make sure we're closer. I think we're about 14, 15 points off Arsenal last season. Can we like have that gap? Can we finish a lot closer to the top team? So I don't think we're in a title race at the moment, but we could be closer. Again, I still think like, in a couple of years we could be looking at challenging if we got and it's a big if we got the transfers right. So now these fixtures, I think it's good to get an idea of how the season's going to start. But I think what most people are thinking of now is like, okay, where does Man United's transfer window? How does this go? I mean, I've been saying this for ages, and there's lots of too many stories that are coming out. And to be honest, big up to you, Gaz, as well. And Daz Salford, good to see you in the chat. When I'm looking at this story, I keep saying, like every single day, that I think too many is unlikely. So I don't want to be one of these channels that hypes it up and goes, "Oh, too many's definitely coming into Man United. Like we can see it, we can see the transfer strategy, all this sort of thing." I've just thought for the whole window and before that, I just feel like too many is going to stay at Madrid. But I do see the story now. This has been discussed by, you've got some journalists now talking about this, and it's been put out there by quite a few different sources. Is that apparently too many has no assurances about first team football or long term future at Real Madrid. So I did say, like I keep saying this, don't I? I keep saying like I think there's a 3% chance of getting too many. Okay, so I do put it on and say it's just genuinely for me not very likely. That's my thoughts on this one. I think if when you look at it and think, I mean, it feels like an excellent signing, doesn't it? Like there's nothing wrong with too many. It feels like a perfect signing for Manchester United. Casemiro leaves, we get Casemiro's replacement from Real Madrid to walk in. So in terms of a story and a narrative, it's a really nice one to push out there and say this is like an ideal signing. That in the back of my mind, though, I've just felt like, does this feel realistic at all? And that the driving force behind my skepticism is probably because too many's at Real Madrid. Which players push to leave Real Madrid? Pretty much none, as far as I can think. Like, I don't see players pushing their way out of Real Madrid. But if Real Madrid do make some big signings and they're looking at Enzo, they're considering Mathis apparently. We don't know if that's 100% true, but they're definitely looking at getting in big players and they're looking at some crazy deals in terms of like, I do keep seeing this as well. I keep seeing that they're linked to Elise. Yesterday evening, I saw quite a few places saying that they think that Real Madrid would offer 220 million. So it's starting to get a bit borderline, absolutely ridiculous. And maybe Real Madrid are going to do something crazy in terms of attacking players, and maybe they're going to look to move players out. I still think it's like, I still think Camavinga is the most likely exit. But late last night, people were talking to me, and we did like a bit of a space chat. We're talking about Manchester United transfers, and is there a chance that we see a bit of a shock exit? Like I know too many is the player we're talking about, but what are like in like a year's time? Could you see Jude Bellingham leaving Real Madrid? Is there going to be like so? We know there's some high profile players in Real Madrid, and whoever leaves is going to be massive news. But honestly, it's going to be for me. If too many left, it would be very interesting indeed. And it would mean that potentially there's no guarantee that I'll say this as well. It's kind of like part one, isn't it? If too many leaves, then that's part of the story. But it doesn't mean that Manchester United is the most likely destination as well. So let me jump through a few comments. And Bilal, just to say, Bilal, there's going to be, in terms of the fixture list, I put it up at the very start of the stream. And it's effectively we're away to Hull, then we're at home to Ipswich, then away to Everton. So first three games are winnable. And yeah, I think there's going to be a good start to the season. If we don't do well in those games, then obviously there's going to be a lot of negativity. But they're winnable games, and they're going to be good games. But big up to you, Bilal. So, and welcome Jules as well to the chat. I keep saying this, but I said there was like a 3% chance of trying to get like too many signed. Maybe I'll go up to 5%. I still think unless something really like if I hear something big like big news wise, we'll talk about it. But at the moment, I think too many would still like to stay at Madrid, but maybe we're going to see something different happen as well. So let me go through a few of the comments as well. A bit to you, Gaz, in the chat. I was trying to find your comment because I read it, and you said that you think that Man United are moving a bit too slow in terms of this one as well. So I can't find your comment, Gaz. But yeah, no, Gaz, big up to you. You said that you think Man United are moving too slow. So in terms of the Mathis Fernandes, apparently, according to Marco Alcaraz, who I see quoted by quite a few other channels as well, he's saying that Man United are pretty relaxed regarding Mathis Fernandes. I don't think Man United see there as being a significant threat to the deal. If they're no, they don't feel under pressure to get a deal done either, which I think it's just annoying. Like from my point of view, that it seems like I don't know whether that have Man United 100% decided who our players are going to be in terms of who want to sign. Is this uncertainty based on trying to find out if too many is available? That's what seems to be there seems to be all these dominoes or all these kind of balls up in the air that we're waiting for them to land, and one of them's going to be with Real Madrid. Do Real Madrid sign Angela Stiller? They were linked to him quite a lot. Do Real Madrid sign Enzo Fernandez? Do Real Madrid try and move on Matheus Fernandez? There's three potential signings there for Real Madrid. Are Real Madrid going to be spending massively on Elise and actually just keeping the midfielders they got, maybe moving one out? Maybe they're looking to move out Camavinga. Maybe they think too many just brings them more money. There's a lot of things up in the air as well. So they're obsessed with Elise. They really are obsessed with Elise, aren't they? So if I have seen Bayern Munich say Elise is not for sale at any price, and we might find that tested. We might be looking at. I don't know what the record transfer fees have been like. You look at Neymar and other massive deals, but we could be seeing something ridiculous. And Elise is good, but we might be talking about money which feels a bit. It does feel a bit crazy, doesn't it? Yannis says, you think that Sander Berg, Edison, and too many will be on midfield, and say you don't think we're going to be getting Matheus Fernandes. So that would be a very different midfield from what we initially thought, because I think initially Baliba was heavily linked, going back a few months now, but it felt a little bit like Matheus Fernandes, Edison, Tonali were the most likely. Like the sources coming out of Italy were actually pretty good regarding Edison and Tonali. So I thought myself that Tonali might be like a 50-50 chance of getting him. I thought we might, if we're going to miss out on Anderson, I thought Tonali might be the target to go for. But I think the Matheus Fernandes one, then that's an interesting one. So you don't think we're going to be going for him? Maybe we're not going to. I mean, I did think that we'd maybe agree terms with like four players, five players possibly, and then choose which players we wanted. So agreeing terms with these players should not be a problem. Tchouaméni would probably be the most expensive and would potentially. I think that a lot has to happen Real Madrid side for this deal to happen. There's no doubt with like Matheus Fernandes, if Man United want the deal done, we can just make a sensible offer, and I think we get that deal done as well. Slice of SOB says we must go and get both. Just for people that tuned in just now, I did put a poll in the chat, and the idea was, what do you think Man United should do in this window? Like Matheus Fernandes is the deal there. It's a deal to be done if Man United want it, isn't it? It's on the table. Man United negotiating. We've got a big advantage over other teams. I mean, Spurs have got pretty much zero chance. I think someone in the comments even said that Matheus Fernandes is like wants Man United. It's been talked about for ages. That deal can be done. The Tchouaméni one would be one where if Man United got Matheus Fernandes done first, Tchouaméni could take a while, but you would be looking at probably about like £200 million spent across three players, which is quite a lot of money. But Slice of SRB said this is monumental for us. It completes our midfield, and that's our midfield done. So you would effectively have, I suppose, Tchouaméni plus Mainoo as starters. You'd have Matheus Fernandes as well, maybe fighting to be a starter, and you'd probably see Edison as potentially. I don't know, maybe backup possibly, but maybe he's going to start games, or maybe with Champions League football, we might see Edison plus Tchouaméni. We might see like a complete change from what we're expecting. So we don't know this one. But my question was going to be, Man United now, should we go for Edison? So should we go for Matheus Fernandes, Tchouaméni? Would you be happy signing both of them, or do you think that Man United should get one of these players and then look for another player? So if you think Man United should get Tchouaméni, then try and go for Boadi or go for Angela Stiller. I'm seeing like now I'm starting to see links with every player to most clubs. And I think Adam Wharton was being actually discussed about a Spurs interest. So I don't think he's going to go to Spurs, but I think Spurs are being linked to a lot of players now. We'll have to see what's going to be happening as well. Oh, no worries, no worries. It was quite a ramble about World Cup and then a bit of Man United chat as well. So at least they could become the first 200 million player. So I can't remember actually when I looked at the story yesterday. I don't know whether it was 200 million euros or 200 million pounds. I think the figure was actually 220, so it probably is close to 200 million pounds. It was getting a borderline ridiculous, wasn't it? Andy says it's just because they can get Enzo. But Enzo Fernandez wants a Real Madrid move. I mean, let's be realistic. If you're a Chelsea football player, you're probably pushing the buttons on the. You're probably trying to make sure you leave, aren't you? I think Enzo Fernandez, like the Chelsea, whatever's happening at Chelsea, it feels a little bit like top players are going to leave. And I think Chelsea might need some of those top players to leave on big contracts because they don't have Champions League football. Their squad is very big. They probably need to move a few players on. So I don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea. I don't know if there's any players Man United fans would like to see us go from Chelsea. Cucurella was briefly linked, but he went to Real Madrid. I think what we could be seeing is like Enzo Fernandez might follow Cucurella to the Bernabeu. That feels like a likely scenario, mainly because also I think it works out for Real Madrid, although it is quite a big transfer fee. But it makes sense for Real Madrid. I think one of the things I would say about Jose Mourinho is Jose Mourinho does like the finished article. So if you remember Manchester United, when Mourinho came to Manchester United, one of the first signings was Zlatan. I don't see Mourinho wanting players. No, people can talk about it, and it's going to be a different. People's going to have different views. I just think, from my perspective, when I watch Mourinho, Mourinho tends to go to clubs. He doesn't stay there a long time. He tends to get results quite quickly. But I don't think Mourinho is the sort of manager that's going to go to Real Madrid and think, right, let's get some players that are going to be developmental players or players that are going to be better in the future. I don't see Matheus Fernandes as being like a Mourinho signing because Matheus Fernandes' better days are probably going to be in like 2 or 3 years' time. So I think for me, Enzo fits what Mourinho would want more. And maybe even Angela Stiller does that, but no, I think Elise is like a Mourinho signing, isn't it? It's a signing that you put into the first team straight away, and I think it's an upgrade over what they've got. And that's why I think some of the younger players we're looking at, I'm not sure Real Madrid are going to be like with Mourinho now. I think it's going to be let's just get some deals done, ready to start. So if yeah, this is probably going to be the second part as well. So I know people will like be interested if too many leaves. The question also is going to be, and this is coming out from Graham Bailey, and there'll probably be more on this afternoon, I'd imagine. It's obviously going to be quite an interesting story for not just Man United fans, but Liverpool were linked to Wharton. Now I see Wharton linked to Spurs, like I said. Is there going to be potential? Again, this might be agents trying to push out information as well. This might be journalists exaggerating a few things we don't know at this point. But Liverpool are they've been linked to Wharton, they've been linked to Alex Scott. They're expected to spend quite big money. They've offered 100 million euros for Diamonde. So Liverpool made a very serious, like massive offer for Diamonde, which is that's kind of the price tag we saw for Diamonde when he first emerged as like a target for a few teams, maybe about two or three, maybe actually longer, maybe in January it was talked about. So Sanya says if Madrid can strike a deal for Enzo, we must put the 70-75 on the table for too many very fast. So before Chelsea, yeah, I don't think like Salia, I don't think we need to worry about Chelsea. Like from when I've spoken to Chelsea fans, and I spoke to a couple of actually I spoke to a Chelsea fan, like I can't remember his name now, but he goes on Talk Sport. He's been like a lot of serious like bigger out channels as well, and he was saying that this is not the sort of signing that Chelsea do. Chelsea can't be spending that much money on too many, and then that the contract that too many is going to be on of about 300k a week with bonuses, etc. I don't think that there's any way that Chelsea are going to want to spend 300k a week when they're not even in the Champions League or in Europe at all. And I don't see too many walking to Chelsea. Like no disrespect to Chelsea, but Real Madrid are one of the biggest clubs in the world, probably the biggest club in the world. Manchester United and maybe Liverpool are going to be the second and third. So in terms of if you leave Real Madrid, it's generally a step down, isn't it? I think Chelsea is too much of a step down. I can't see like too many leaving Real Madrid for a team that's mid-table in the Premier League at the moment, and that's the harsh reality of where Chelsea are at the moment. So no, I think for this one, I'd say like, hey, this we can be respectful to Matheus Fernandes. Like it's not his fault that West Ham got relegated, but you have to look at it and say, as a Man United fan, what would be the best signing? I think too many feels a bit like it feels like too good a deal not to go for. If you want to go for a player that's got the experience, he's got all these sort of things as well. Um, so too many. Yeah, I don't know who put these together, but no, for me, do you think Liverpool would be a serious? I mean, Liverpool, if they're going to be spending, how much they're going to spend on Diamonde? If they're going to spend potentially like 100 million euros. It's going to probably cost more to get Diomande based on, Liverpool have already had 100 million turned down, so they're not going to get him for cheaper. But say Liverpool blow us out the water with a bid for too many, and we were not bidding, get nowhere. So this is probably going to be another question as well. If too many's available, Manchester United have said that they keep putting out this story, don't they? Saying we're going to go for a surprise signing. We're going to go for what are people saying now? Like a statement signing. We're going to go for a marquee signing. Like too many is a marquee signing, isn't he? There is not a lot of players on the market that I think fall in that category. Most of the players we talked about probably fall into the category of young, promising, upcoming. I think maybe Anderson's going to be the one where you can already look at him playing well for England. You can see he's doing well at Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. And so he's got every attribute you want from a midfielder. That's why he's probably the top target. But he's probably, he probably needs to then replicate this in the latter stages of the Champions League to kind of be regarded as like the elite players that we're talking about regarding too many. But if Man United are serious, do you think Man United would actually put their money where their mouth is and actually go on and put a sensible offer on the table for too many? But because I think people expect too many to be like 70 million pounds, I think it's going to cost more. But most of this is going to come down to where do you think, where do you think too many is going to want to play? Like, is too many going to want to join Manchester United, like the biggest club, I suppose, historically and fan base wise, or do you think he's going to be looking at the Liverpool project? Liverpool will have a different manager. Manchester United, we can effectively offer him Casemiro's position, can't we, in the first team? So I would say that maybe we need to make a phone call to Agent Casemiro, get him to have a chat, because I think there's going to be potentially, I think Man United can make this sort of offer. So I know when I've said about certain players, like there's certain players where you think, like, should Man United get into a battle for? I think Man United can outbid Liverpool if they choose to. Like, there's no reason why we can't put more money on the table. We've restructured some debt recently, which is not exciting news, but it did mean that I think we borrowed 500 million to pay back, say 400 million, have an extra 100 million. So the money's there, but this would be like a short term thing, wouldn't it? So spending and taking on more debt would be a short term investment. But no, like Tiger Claws, Alex says, we can't roll over to Liverpool, can we? No. Do you think Man United, like, this will be a test, won't it, of do Manchester United have the ambition to actually to actually go for one of these players and beat Liverpool to this signing? I mean, I'm not sure if Liverpool are definitely looking at too many. This is again, like I said, the first time I saw this was about probably half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago. Yeah, I know Liverpool. I think Chelsea have got a better head coach. I just don't see Chelsea as being the destination like for top players this summer. I just think if you're going to sign for Chelsea, like Alonso might do okay, but Chelsea coaches do not stay at the club very long, do they? As well. BHU Malps says the money is there, but they don't want to spend on top players. And so this ownership has gaslit the fan base. I don't think the fan base buys it. United side eye. When I speak to people, I don't think Man United fans think that Man United are broke. That Manchester United have got money to spend. They have been looking at restructuring their debt and in a way which means that also I would say look at West Ham's situation. West Ham owe money, but they can easily borrow that money. Like they lost 100 million, they can easily restructure that, refinance that, and kick the debt down the road a bit, and still get good money for their signing. So I wouldn't worry about. I think West Ham are not in a critical situation. It's going to be a bit overhyped as well. I don't think Man United have got a big problem either financially. Big up to you, Tom. Good to see you in the chat, my friend Tom. If anyone's got any questions, please get them in. And a few legends turning up as well. Big up to you, Danny B. Hope you're enjoying the World Cup, Danny. If you get some games in Boston, I know a couple of people they're actually managing to get a few games. I know Scottish, like people know Niall from the comments. He's actually managed to go to watch a World Cup, watch Scotland compete. So fair play to him. That's obviously probably like a once in a lifetime opportunity, isn't it, to go and watch the team in a major competition for some people. But no, so please vote in the chat regarding what you think. I have been talking about the story about too many. And I do keep saying at the start of every too many stream is that I still think it's unlikely because it just feels a bit like I don't know. It feels like too good to be true, doesn't it? It feels like one of these signings where, like, Man United are always linked to players, and I don't want to get my hopes up and say, right, too many's going to come because I still feel like this is going to be like another one of those stories where I don't know. You think it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. I know there's going to be a watch along tonight for the USA game for USA versus Australia. Could be a good game. Both teams look good in their opening game. So if people are watching the channel, watching watch alongs, G will be hosting a watch along this evening, like 8 p.m. That could be a good. That could be an entertaining match. Actually, two teams that didn't hold back in the first match as well. But let's go back to the story. And Marv says, "So slow this club. They're dragging this out on purpose." What do you think what do you think the reason for this delay is? Like I did say, when people ask about Matheus Fernandes, I did put this out there. I did say verbally about sort of half an hour ago that Man United, as far as I can see with Matheus Fernandes, there is no there's no new information. So there's literally nothing to say about Matheus Fernandes. I know I saw a few channels talking about Matheus Fernandes earlier, but as far as I can see, there isn't anything new about Matheus Fernandes. It looks like Man United are effectively. It feels like we're just waiting for like maybe better options, doesn't it? It feels a bit like we're in the shop. Matheus Fernandes is there. We know how much he costs. We must know, how much we can spend. And now we're looking at it thinking, what else is there out there? We keep putting out statements saying that we can spend more, but yeah, I don't know. So they're waiting for spend on the next calendar year. So is the next football's kind of financial year? Does it start in July? I always keep forgetting when it is, but it is like mid transfer window, isn't it? So is it deals after July? Because we could still announce it, couldn't we? We could still get this deal done, and we could still it's a bit up to you, Danny. Yeah, so we could still get this deal sorted out. So I thought it was July as well. So that's why I was thinking that last year we had this issue regarding trying to get these deals. But we can get this deal agreed, can't we? And then we can like get it done. Because we've got like another 12 days until like July. So I don't know why Man United don't just get this announced and then we can move on. If anything, maybe the only issue is going to be that. Do you think is there any chance Man United are just looking at it thinking if too many is available, do we completely forget about the Matheus Fernandes deal? That's the only thing I can think of is that for whatever reason, Matheus Fernandes deal is there because this is obviously going to be really tricky, isn't it? So let's so look at this one. Say you think it's best to assume too many is unlikely than if it happens. So yeah, no, I think with this one that Man United are not releasing a lot of information at all, are they? So in terms of this one, I'm not going to try and tell you things that are going to happen if I don't think they're going to happen, and a lot of it is a bit about guesswork. But as Yari says, United do not announce anything anymore, and say pundits, transfer people are all over the place when it comes to our club, and say non-disclosure agreements are in full effect at Manchester United. So some of this information, that one thing I did read today was that Manchester United actually had a meeting with too many, and this is back before the too many Valverde incident. So Manchester United had already spoken to too many regarding like potential interest in a move. We know that at the same time, Real Madrid were apparently looking at offering too many a longer contract. The only thing that's changed is Mourinho has become manager of Real Madrid. It looks like also the presidential elections at Real Madrid. I'll be able to you, Jules. I think also that the presidential election at Real Madrid did mean there were some crazy stories talked about. And it does mean that I think, in terms of like being president of Real Madrid, they're looking at some statement signings. Real Madrid don't tend to want to tread water too long. They didn't have a very good season last season. They're probably looking for some scapegoats. They're probably looking for a bit of a refresh. And that even Real Madrid have to balance the books somewhat. Like they still can't go out and spend 200 million plus on Elise without looking at moving players on. And it might be that they see Camavinga as the player they want to move on, and it might be that potentially there's another shock exit. But maybe Camavinga's got no. Maybe I don't know if like would Camavinga bring in less money? I think that's the general expectation. So It's for me, it doesn't seem like the best situation, but I'd say the best thing, yeah, one of the things I would say is that Manchester United's relationship with Real Madrid, it does feel, if this was a Barcelona football player, I would be pretty much ignoring the story because Barcelona are ridiculous to deal with. But with Manchester United, we've got like the Di Maria deal. We don't really like Di Maria, but the deal was quite straightforward. We had the Casemiro deal was quite straightforward. The too many deal, if it does happen, there is a good relationship between Manchester United and Real Madrid. Going back to like the Busby Babes era, there's been always been a good relationship between Manchester United and Real Madrid. And I think people know about Real Madrid helping Man United out after the Munich disaster. And there's a lot historically, like we've had Ronaldo going to Real Madrid. That's quite straightforward. Van Nistelrooy. So we've had deals going to and from the clubs, and there's never been much drama. So if that did happen, then I'm not saying it would mean that we'd get a better deal in Liverpool, but it would be like a deal where you could see it being it could be more straightforward than some of the deals we've seen. A lot of it comes down to too many and what too many wants. I mean, Casemiro was interviewed when he left Man United, saying that that he loved his time at United, and that's kind of the positive you've got to look at. Is if you're at Real Madrid, you must be looking around Europe and thinking most clubs are a step down. You're at the biggest club in Europe. Is Man United a big enough attraction for players at Real Madrid at the moment? It probably helps that we finished third in the league. And maybe too many walks into Man United thinking, actually, I can help get Man United back where we are, where we should be. And I think for a lot of Man United fans, this would represent probably, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I'm going to put that up there as well because, to be honest, I'd swap Pagate for much less, and I don't think Real Madrid are stupid. But I'll give Real Madrid some credit and say there's no way Agate goes to Real Madrid, but maybe Agate goes to AC Milan. So I think Agate is going to be he's going to be cashed in, isn't he? So I wouldn't worry too much about this one. Big up to you, Sky, in the chat as well. So I was thinking that maybe Agate could have a good World Cup, but I think even that might be that might be hoping for too much. I'm not sure who Uruguay play next, but I think that might be having Agate turn in some top quality performances and push his value up might be unrealistic. I think the best we can hope for is that his team does okay and he goes for a sensible price. Big up to you, Niche, in the chat. Hope you're having a good day. So yeah, we have got a nice striker in Xerxes, but Xerxes hasn't gone to the World Cup, has he? So it's going to make it. Um, so we need to praise Agate hit the post versus Saudi. I just hope he doesn't get injured. When I say Agate, I'm just thinking, just don't get injured. Don't get injured. Try and play like reasonably okay, and maybe we get a sensible price for you as well. The only thing I'll say is that this is probably the other part to this is if Real Madrid move out too many, does that make anyone worry about too many at all? Like Real Madrid don't tend to let players that are good players go. They tend to have one eye on the future. When I was talking about this morning, actually, when I saw some of the news and there was a few people commenting it on social media, would you say if too many join Manchester United and Matheus Fernandes join Real Madrid, would there be anyone that looks at it and thinks, "Oh, are we making the right decision?" Because there's some clubs that do seem to move players on at the right time. I'm not saying that for me. I don't feel like too many has any issues. I don't think there's anything to worry about too many. We saw him play in the first game for France. Looked pretty. France looked good in that game, and I think too many looked fine in that game as well. As I could see. Would there be anyone that preferentially chooses to get Matheus Fernandes? That's just be um, just what people are thinking as well. So if you think too many is not the right signing, then let me know. Danny B says you'd be disappointed if that happened. You don't really want too many, so I'm guessing you'd rather have Matheus Fernandes. I mean, I don't want to read too much into what you're saying. I say, but no, for me, it would be like I think Matheus Fernandes is a good player. I think too many is obviously like proved himself a very good player. It just makes me a little bit suspicious. That's what I'm saying. If Real Madrid let you have a player which seems to be too good, then I'm just saying that. I'm not saying like for like. I'm just saying it makes me a bit suspicious. Like, it might be that Real Madrid are just looking to change the way they play. It could be as simple as that. But I'm just going to say it's always a bit suspicious, isn't it? If Bayern Munich sell you a player or Real Madrid sell you a player and it seems like too good a deal, yeah. United Dice says I'm fine with that. Too many's a baller. Fernandez can go to Madrid. Say different positions. Gallagher's saying it make you think a little bit. Yeah, I'd say Tom. When I was, I think it's just before you joined the chat. I was going to say for me, I don't think that Mourinho would want Fernandez. Not because there's anything wrong with Fernandez. I just think Fernandez is going to be a player that's better in a couple of years, and I think Jose Mourinho. I don't know how long he'll stay at Real Madrid, but I don't see Mourinho as being like a long-term manager anywhere. I think Mourinho will get some good results. Maybe we see Real Madrid lift a trophy or two in the next couple of years, and then Mourinho will probably be leaving somewhere else. So Mourinho doesn't tend to stick around clubs too long, even despite winning the league at Chelsea, like what, three league titles. He still didn't stay very long at that club either. So I can't remember how long actually he stayed at Real Madrid the first time. So I wouldn't be expecting Mourinho to be there for like 4 or 5 years. So I'm not sure why he'd sign younger players. That's just my guess on this one as well. But um, I don't know. I think it's because like the money in football, like everyone knows the Premier League's got a lot bit of money. I think with probably if you're looking at Brighton as an example, I think Brighton, the reason why Brighton's so difficult is because of like Caicedo, Cucurella, Enzo, because they sold essentially Chelsea made it so that Brighton were expecting massive transfer fees for their players. And then I think what you saw is because Brighton got big money, other clubs are doing the same sort of thing. So we're seeing Brentford do. Actually, Brentford aren't that difficult to negotiate with. I think I'm trying to think of when the last time we dealt with West Ham, but well, West Ham seem to be, I don't know, just pretty awkward, don't they? So I don't know with West Ham. It might be a lot of people think it's West Ham. It could be the agent, like it could be just Mendes. And I saw something this morning which comes to mind when you say this, Bilal, and it was that everybody thinks that Matheus Fernandes wants Man United, okay? But Matheus Fernandes isn't coming out and saying, I want Man United, even though that kind of helps us get the deal done because it does kind of rule out other teams because of Mendes. Like Mendes wants control of the transfer situation, wants to control his client, wants to get the best deal for him, wants to make the most money for himself. So there's certain agents that are just like playing this game where Mendes wants there to be as much interest in other teams as possible. And this is why we saw the Spurs story. That the Spurs story is pointless, isn't it? When people are talking about Spurs and Matheus Fernandes, there's literally nothing in that at all. So we might see potentially other stories like I won't be surprised if we see more players linked to Spurs. I've already seen like this morning. I've seen Wharton linked to Spurs. I don't think Wharton's going to be going to Spurs, but it might be that Spurs is just one of those teams for some reason they keep pushing that out there as well. And be up to you in the chat. So Toxo sort of Finn, good to see you in the chat. Said I want Jackson from Chelsea as backup. Is Jackson still at Chelsea? I thought Jackson I completely forgotten about. But you're talking about the Jackson that was playing in the World Cup that actually looked quite good. Looked like a more effective player than I'd seen it as a Chelsea version. But it depends how much he's going to cost. That I'd feel like João Pedro, but he's never going to leave, is he? So no. Be actually lucky in the chat. Yeah, Mendes is yeah, not helpful, is he? He can help you if you want to buy players from him, but if you're looking at buying a player that he's an agent of, he is such a pain in the ass, isn't he? I mean, he's the reason we got Agati, isn't he? So I kind of agree with what you're saying. Can we get another club to sign Fernandez, loan him for an option? That seems a bit overly complicated, but yeah. What has Kate said that's made you say that one? And Tom's saying that Real Madrid have never signed a relegated player. And yeah, I agree with your thoughts on Mourinho. Like Mourinho, for me, wants to finish the article like he did with Zlatan, like he does with like Drogba, Terry, Lampard. So I don't see Mourinho as being a developmental manager that's going to. Again, it's like Pep. I don't see Pep signing players and not getting players that are going to be first team quality initially. And so if we sign him, we can spin it and say we beat Madrid to a player. To be honest, I don't think. I think like Tom. I don't. Obviously, you don't believe that. I don't believe that. But I think that if Man United tried to put this spin out that we beat Real Madrid to a player, that I don't think if Real Madrid want Matheus Fernandes, I think Matheus Fernandes is already a Real Madrid player. I don't think Real Madrid messed about with players they want to sign, and if they wanted to sign Matheus Fernandes, they would probably just be looking at getting a better deal. And we'd see we'd see Matheus Fernandes coming out and saying he wants Real Madrid, wouldn't we? We'd see like Real Madrid have got some power in transfers, haven't they? They'd have already tapped him up essentially. No, exactly. I agree. I don't think Matheus Fernandes is going to Real Madrid either. So I agree 100% with that. I'll just say if you're new to the channel as well, thanks for getting involved in the chat. So this window, I think I'm on the same page as you, Bilal. So we've been talking about this now for like what 4 weeks, 6 weeks since the channel restarted, maybe a couple of months, and there's so many players linked to Man United. I have said this regarding Ineos. I know a lot of people get frustrated about the speed, and I'm also impatient as well. And it is frustrating that we haven't got more deals done. And it feels like every sort of week that goes by, other clubs like Spurs are getting deals done. It looks like other clubs, even like Newcastle, despite Newcastle not getting any deals done, they are at least trying to get deals done. And we're seeing Liverpool put in a big offer for Diamonde. So Man United really rate Diamonde, but we're effectively just watching it as Liverpool buy him, and we're being linked to players that cost a fraction of that amount. So it does feel frustrating that some of these deals are happening and we're kind of passengers. We're even looking at the Tonali deal and thinking like, now if Tonali goes to Spurs, then that's going to be a surprising one. But the Spurs seem to be serious about buying better players for their club. And why are Man United so passive? Like it seems frustrating, doesn't it? So I agree with you, Bilal. If Man United missed this transfer, if we mess this transfer window up, then there's literally no excuse for Ineos. They've had they did nothing in January. They've had the whole year to plan for this transfer window. We've all known we have to get midfielders in. This is like not a surprise, is it? We know we need to get a left back in, and we know there's like holes in our squad. So you have to look at it and say, if Man United mess this up, there's no hiding place, is there? We know there's some money to spend. We know the issues in the team. We know the targets. So we just have to try and no, if you mess it up, there's no excuses there. Yeah, Edison hasn't even happened yet. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's like a done deal. We did the Here We Go stream about a month ago, so surely that is going to be locked up pretty soon. So, Arsenal and Spurs are both interested in signing Mason Greenwood from Marseille this summer. And so, yeah, I'm not sure who's linking them there, Yardi, but I would be thinking the same sort of thing based on the reasons why he left Man United. I think it's going to be incredibly unlikely he plays in England ever again. So we'd have to see. We'd have to see with that one. I think he's going to be linked to a lot of clubs. I was hoping he'd go to a big club in France, but I don't know. Big up to Mr. B. Make sure you check out Mr. B for Brentford updates, and make sure you reference any Brentford player you want to sign, as Mr. B's in the chat. He obviously loves that as well. Just joking, Mr. B. Hope you're well, and hope you're looking forward to the rest of the World Cup matches tonight. So this is Le Quit. I never pronounce this right, but I know the journalist. I know the article you're talking about as well. They're saying no, they're usually like quite decent, aren't they? Now, one of my friends used to do a bit of freelance work for. I think he got something in L'Equipe before he went to move back to France. So no, they're usually like credible. Maybe they're trying to test the water and see what fans say. Um, Snail. I think you need to get an emoji for like a glacier because it feels like we're moving about that speed. We're moving about the speed that granite weathers. So unfortunately, it's going to be a bit. It's going to be a long wait for fans, isn't it? Like I said, I'm probably one of the most the crep. For some reason, it looks like a straightforward word, but I just can't pronounce it. The keep, is that right? The keep. No, my friend used to translate it a little bit. So it used to be like a good source for like, some information as well. This is going back quite a while. Mendes, yeah, the way you're talking about Mendes is like a Bond villain, isn't he? We've got to somehow stop Mendes. He's just a pain, isn't he? I think the way you can stop it is just sign better players. I say sign players from different agents. Like that's the way you can stop it. There's a lot of midfielders around. I'm just smiling because I was joking actually because someone asked me about your striker, and I said that we did like a 2 hour stream, and literally 30 seconds before you appeared, someone posted a comment and said, "What about Thiago? We should get him in as a backup." And I just thought it was like perfect timing as well. Yeah, Agent Mendes is like something out of the Matrix, isn't it? Like we should just do deals with other. Uh, Man United aren't forced to get Matheus Fernandes. Other midfielders are available. Um, who's the agent for Too Many? I mean, that's one thing I've never considered actually. I'm guessing with Too Many, if he decides to leave, it would go a bit quicker. That's kind of my guess regarding this one. And what I might do is to give myself a bit of time to discuss the poll. Please vote if you haven't voted already. And the poll is effectively just to judge, where you think the best value is. Should Man United just push on and get Too Many if he's available? Should Man United just get this Matheus Fernandes deal wrapped up? Which, to be honest, I think we should have done it already if we want to get him. Or should Man United get both these players? In which case, we should still wrap up Matheus Fernandes, but maybe we're looking to try and get the price down a little bit. I don't know. If you think there's better options and we should just go for someone else, then please feel free to mention the players you think we can get that are available that would be better options. I think at the moment, the only ones I see linked, I see Tonali being discussed, but I don't see lots of players being pushed Man United's way at this point in time, apart from the ones we've already discussed. And it feels like we almost go around in circles a little bit with those. Genghis, you're saying that we should get both of these players and say that would give us that we'd have Too Many as like mid 20s. We'd have Matheus Fernandez, who's obviously quite young, and Edison's like mid 20s as well. Komenu. That wouldn't actually be bad, would it? We'd have two people that are going to be what 25, 26. Edison's got a decent amount of European experience. Too Many, we don't need to say what experience he's got. He might be lifting another World Cup in a few weeks' time, so he'll be about as experienced player as you can get. I think Too Many might be like the most experienced player we're linked to in terms of like what he offers. Matheus Fernandez is quite an exciting signing, I think, for the future. But if you could get both of them, I think that would be. I mean, it feels greedy. It would be a lot. The only thing I think of regarding this one is if Man United bought both those players, we have to be realistic and say West Ham are going to want at least 60. So probably 65 gets that. Maybe 65 to 70 might be the very top end of that deal. Too Many is going to be at least 70 at the cheapest. Potentially he might be closer to 80 as well, maybe even more based on like some of the transfer fees. But that's going to be, I think it's going to be at least like 100, 140, 150 as a minimum to get these both deals done. And I suppose with Edison costing 35, I guess that's still probably going to be, it's going to be about 180. So it might be on average what we paid for three players last season in terms of attacking options. So it could be, it could work financially, but it would mean that maybe Man United look at a bit of a compromise on how much we can spend on other targets. So I think it might be difficult to then go for a left back like Hall. He might be quite expensive. So Raiola played a huge factor in the awfully inflated market. I say Forest rejected 120. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It is ridiculous. It feels like for me, well, when we look at these crazy transfer fees, and it's not going away, is it? Liverpool are spending more again this summer. It does show that with Man United, some of the deals we're looking at trying to do that we got Aiden Heaven very cheap. I did see a story maybe about 2 days ago, which was Man United looking at I think they were looking at Liverpool Academy and poaching one of their players, and they're looking at the Man City Academy and again trying to nick one of their players. So some of these players that come through Liverpool or Man City, they tend to generally get sold on to a different club. so out of the league. They usually like Man City usually sell their academy players to generate some profit. I think Man United are looking at trying to get some of these deals done relatively cheaply. If you get players from the academy, you don't pay a transfer fee, do you? There's a an arbitration committee which sets the price, and then you pay that, and that's how we got Aiden Heaven. So it could be that Man United are looking at ways of getting players in the future because just trying to sign players like this is just going to be almost prohibitively expensive, isn't it? So we're going to have to be doing something different. Like people can't keep doing this. Like the transfer windows got so ridiculous that if you can develop your own players, and I think the best way of doing that is to effectively poach other players or get. Man United used to do this in the past, didn't we? It used to be quite not as blatant. We used to generally look at the best players in England and get them for into our academy, and now it feels like you have to almost like poach people from other academies, and it seems that that's what's going to happen as well. I did see the red cards, and some of the tackling in that game was atrocious. That it was pretty bad. Yeah, no, I agree with that one. So it's only going to get worse. Now, this is why I think that in terms of, you can say that again, Gaz. Man United do not rush. The only thing we've done rapidly is make people redundant. In terms of getting big transfers in, we're being like so slow, it's painful. Like trying to sign a midfielder last year, we were so slow, the transfer window closed. So by the time we actually tried to get a deal done for a midfielder, the only option was to try and get Gallagher on a loan, and even that was impossible. Like there was no way that was happening. So no, we're ridiculously slow. So let's have a look at the vote because this is one where I wanted to get your opinion. To be honest, actually, I probably agree with the vote that if you're looking at best option for Man United, the best option probably is to get some balance in on midfield and go for a blend of youth plus experience. And then it could be that, we got too many plus Menu. That could be our first option. To be honest, if you're looking at a like flight replacement, too many is probably the best out there. If you're looking at sustainable Man United as well, then having Menu, having Matheus Fernandes does give you that next generation midfield as well. So I can't see there being a big issue with anyone like looking at those. I think those would be deals that most people will get on board with. I know people are going to have what's the word? I don't think it's literally impossible to please everybody on any sort of platform, and on YouTube it's probably even more impossible. And if I said, look, Man United are going to sign too many, I think most people would be positive, but there will still be some people that are negative about this one. And it's the same, exactly the same energy for probably like Tonali or probably I'm trying to think of other ones. Maybe Matheus Flanders as well. I think there's still going to be people that don't like it, people that do like it. It's just at the moment that everybody's got their idea of what the best option is. But I think if you got too many and you got Matheus Fernandez, I think you got to be. Most people have got to look at that and say, actually, that makes sense. If too many can't replicate what he did at Real Madrid initially, then Matheus Fernandez has got he's up to speed with the Premier League, so there is that. But also, Menu is going to just be hitting better form as well, and Edison is going to also give us more options. So there's literally no pressure on one midfielder, I think, to carry the transfer window. You've got a few options as well, which I think is a positive thing. Um, yeah, exactly. If Man United pays £80 million for Matheus Fernandez, then the only reason I can think of is because they've waited until July because the next financial football year. That's the only reason I can think of as well. Um, Lucky Singh, yeah, Mendes has really annoyed you, Lucky, isn't he? Really annoyed you. I would just forget about Mendes. Like I'm more annoyed that he got Agate to join Man United. I'm more annoyed with that one than what's happening with Matheus Fernandes. Matheus Fernandes, it's all like spin and PR and a bit of hype, and eventually Man United will probably get that deal done, I think. But no, Mendes getting got Man United to sign Agate is worse for me. That wasted. No, we could have gone for Neves instead, and we got a worse player. So add that to your list. We've got this one. So if teams like Liverpool, Chelsea willing to spend what teams want, then we have no chance. At some point, Man United have to accept, don't they? that I think there's this idea of trying to find value in the transfer market. There is no value in the transfer market. If you look at people can look at different leagues and say there's better value there. The players that Brighton and Brentford and other clubs used to sign, other clubs are starting to look at those players now. So it's getting harder and harder. And if anything, Man United just need to like go right. We need to pick our main targets and aggressively go for them. If we can, if we can't make a sensible offer, we need to look at players that we can go for. But it's getting to that stage where was Mendes the Cristiano Ronaldo's agent? Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea. Back in 2003, I don't think anyone actually cared who the agents were. Like the first I heard about Ronaldo was like we're signing him. So yeah. Hey Rob, you don't have to keep quiet, Rob. If you've got any points, then please get them in. Where's the £70 million we had for some menu, or have the Glazers pocketed it? So, yeah, this is why I think when Man United say that we're prepared to spend big on any signings, and we had the some menu money apparently. We had £70 million we could spend on Belieber as well, so that's 140. So, and I think £70 million seems to be about where Man United are pitching deals. So if Tchouaméni is about £70 million, I think we'll get him. If Matheus Fernandes is about 70 million, I think we'll get him. And I think we're looking at that as being a top price. I don't think Man United are going to spend 80, 90, 100 million. And it might be that in a weird way, we're probably more likely to buy Lewis Hall for like 60 million than we are to spend £100 million on a midfielder. I think we're more likely to spend big on a left back. So So if anyone's got any questions they want to get out there, this is probably going to be the only Man United stream today. There is potential, like if breaking news happens, there is potential for short videos, but it's actually getting pretty hot today, so I'll probably go outside, get sunburned, have a barbecue, and do things that people do in the UK when it's not been nice weather for a little bit. So there will be a watch along tonight, though, run by G Wolf, which will cover the Australia versus USA game. That's going to be a good one. I don't think we're going to be able to cover the Scotland game very late tonight, but that's going to be one game actually I'm going to look forward to seeing as well. But I say, any transfer questions you got, anything you want, there. I think this as well, Rob. I haven't seen anything out there at all. But when you're looking at this, like just my sort of like thinking processes. When I look at every deal, Man United seem to be interested in quite a lot of deals, but as soon as it becomes evident the price is going to be a bit more expensive, Manchester United links seem to disappear. Now, Man United have said this a few times, haven't they? They have said if we think there's how do they phrase it? If we think there's an opportunity which we can't miss, we will go up to whatever it takes. But at the moment, I just don't see any evidence of that. I think we do have a price cap, and £70 million sounds about right. That's what I'm thinking as well. So 34 degrees. It feels quite warm now. Like it is quite warm. No, it feels a bit like there's a cut-off, doesn't it? Maybe we go slightly more than 70 with add-ons, but it feels a bit like there's like a glass ceiling we're not aware of, but there does seem to be some sort of cap. I think what we'll do is like apparently we want to sign about 6 players. I think the most expensive player will be Matheus Fernandes or something like that, and then we might sign a few. Like Edison was a deal we got done. If we went for Boadi, I think 70 million is going to be our cap. So it's a bit annoying, but I was hoping we'd like look at Diomande a bit more seriously. I'm a bit concerned we might go for Rafael, but it does feel like whatever happens, if we signed a player for over £70 million, I would be genuinely surprised. How much is that? Interesting you should mention this, Genghis, because the first kind of story that went out there was putting his value at about £70 million. So again, I feel he would cost more, but if he's £70 million and he's available, I think Man United get this deal done. That's my criteria. If he leaves Real Madrid and Real Madrid would take about £70 million, maybe slightly more, I think this deal can get done. If his value is like £90 million, then we'll have to see. Maybe Tchouaméni is like the one player that would be, and Man United would push the budget. And I do agree with you, Big Dog, as well. £70 million feels quite cheap, considering Elliot Anderson might be £120 million. There's no way we can look at Elliot Anderson and say he's £50 million more than too many. Like based on the last few years, it just doesn't make any sense, does it? Um, so if Bruno wants here, would Fernandez even come? So yeah, the only thing that's worrying is like if we saw Real Madrid try and poach any of our players. Big up to you, Craig. Been a long time, Craig. Hope you're good, mate. Hope you're good. And thanks for like, I don't know if you were subscribed to the channel, but thanks for finding the channel again. But no, good to see you, Craig. Hope you're keeping well. Um, if you've got any thoughts or comments or questions you want to put in, Craig, I was like going to be drawing to a conclusion, but I'll take a couple of questions, people. It's just getting quite warm in here. There will be a watch along for people that want to discuss anything. Like G will be hosting it. It's going to be the Australia versus USA game, but any Man United chat is always on the table on this channel as well. So I think you have to do it, Rich. You're getting quality and experience, and that's not cheap. I have actually got a mint cornetto in the freezer, which is starting to be very appealing very quickly, United to die. So I might go into that side and eat that in a second. No, I think if with Man United, I think too many just feels like that if you believe all the rhetoric that's put out there and you look at Man United's news and you go, okay, well, what are Man United actually going to do? If Man United are serious, they've got to get some experience into the team, haven't they? We can't do a Chelsea model and go for nothing but youth. Like even if the youth has some experience as well, it would seem a bit of a risky deal. And we can't try and. I don't see how Man United can catch up with City, Liverpool, and Arsenal by spending less than them on every single player. That for me, unless we think that somehow magically we're going to get better deals than any other team, it's just not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to happen. No, I wish. If it was in this room, it would be liquid. Unfortunately, liquid. And Magnums, yeah, I do have like I do like mint ice cream as like a favorite, but yeah, mint, mint Magnums are also good. Honestly, it's very good. Yeah, we kind of like regress to food chat again. Now, big up to you, Craig. Unfortunately, I had to restart the channel on here, and this is like it's effectively the Red Devil United community. That's what where we are at the moment. Just one. Yeah, I can't be too greedy. Can't be too one. No, actually, yeah, there is some quite good ones. I think I had a salted caramel one like a week ago. Solero, come on, guys! Like each comment you make about an ice cream is making it actually me feel hotter as well. Food chat is never. No, I think when we move on to food chat, it's like because we talked about too many for too long. Too long, I think. That's why I've cut down to doing one transfer stream a day. Would people, just a quick question, people watching, do you think it's worth trying to do like more than one Man United stream a day? Because it does take quite a lot of time to try and like prepare information and try and like save things as well, and try and think of a topic that's going to be at least discuss like something to discuss. I don't want to do the same stream every single day. I know for some people that's not a problem, but yeah, I don't want to do that. Leo Scout says Milan. Do you know what I'm thinking? Like, I mean, I'm usually quite positive about signings, but I can't get behind a Rafael signing. That I read this as well, Genghis, that Milan fans have been booing him off the field. He's not had a good time. There's so many issues. It feels a bit like we that when you look at the sort of player that's pushing out to do that as well. I don't know. I don't know. More than one stream is good, says United Strand. Two streams a day, 45 minutes. Yeah, I was thinking it would be just a bit like shorter, would have to be that one as well. The problem is, it's really difficult when I look at other YouTube channels and I look at the streams and just think there's literally nothing, there's no information out there. So it's quite difficult to I think it's difficult to start a stream if there isn't any new news. And A lot of the news has been World Cup stuff, so maybe in the morning we could like talk about the World Cup a little bit as well. I do remember that Mr. B, not because of the flake, for other reasons. Can I do a tier list of ice creams? I've got a quick question for United Strand actually, because I know United Strand, you said you're based in Paris, so I assume I don't know if you're French, but you're living in Paris. Are you supporting the French national team? You'd rather Buwadi over. To be honest, actually, Big Dog, I would probably go for that deal as well. I don't think Man United would consider it based on that sort of thing. I might be able to do. I might be able to do some sort of tier list. Maybe we should do like a Man United keep sell, but I don't know if it's like with the World Cup going on. I don't think people are losing interest a bit in like there's probably relentless amount of content at the moment. So it felt a bit like every single channel is just hammering and hammering the same sort of things. So, in your opinion, you feel that Ineos don't want to challenge for the major titles because that means we have to spend big, and Ineos only want to spend to keep us in top five in hope for Champions League money, which, yeah, at the moment does seem to be this as well. Yeah, at the moment, like I'm almost like starting the Buardi fan club here because I was talking about him. And I know Genghis was joking yesterday. I think with like Buardi, we were talking about him probably about 2 years ago. Whenever that match was when he dominated Real Madrid, I think people were talking about Buardi for ages. I think it's going to be that even people that have never watched Buardi are now talking about him. So his price is just going to be higher and higher, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know. I think with Buardi, he looks top quality. And if you're watching the game Morocco versus Brazil, for me that was such a perfect audition because he's against Casemiro. Casemiro gets benched in that match, and that's effectively we're trying to replace Casemiro. And you just look at him. I know it's one game, but he got benched in that match. And Bruno Guimaraes was like second best to Brady in the first half as well. So Brady was just like levels above most of the players on that pitch, and he's 18. I mean, literally, what can you say? There's for me, it was just an endorsement of what I thought already, and I think he's someone that, like for me, if Man United don't get Anderson, I think Buwadi's like a good pivot because he attacks the ball, he wins back possession. He's doing what Anderson's doing, just like it's a bit more low key because he's not in the he's not playing in a Premier League. Morocco is obviously an exciting team, but he's like 18 and he's in a World Cup and he's like one of the best players on the pitch. So I can't really speak highly enough of Buadi. He just looks like a player that's there to win, doesn't he? He looks like he's going to be a player that wants to get the ball, wants possession, wants to drive the team forward, and if he loses possession, he wants to win it back. He wants to fight for the team. You can see like under threat as well. He like finds out he's got little flicks and tricks to his game as well. I think he's just like a really good prospect. And again, he's good enough now, which is weird because he's 18, but his ceiling is like sky high. I just hope Man United do go for someone like Guardi and don't let. I hate him to go to Arsenal because for me it'd be like when Arsenal's got like Thierry Henry and Vieira, Bergkamp. They're just too good. So just going, fans like Leao, they saw him playing good for Portugal 4 years ago. I watched Rafa Leao about 4 years ago, actually, Genghis, and he was quite good then. And I watched him in the Milan derby where he scored the winner. But since then, it's just been like a downward spiral, isn't it? So you would rather Buadi than Tuameni, but you're playing fantasy football. Um, to be honest, actually, too many. The price, the initial transfer fee might be similar, but too many would cost so much more than Buadi, wouldn't it? Like Buadi would be much cheaper overall as well. United Strand says even if too many becomes available, I do not see Ineos buying him. Now, this is kind of the other point as well that too many being available is like part one, isn't it? Part two is do Man United spend enough to get him? Is there potentially? like Graham Bailey was saying, is there potential that Liverpool are also interested? And it would be ridiculous if Man United actually, if Tchouameni's available, and I've said this for months, I don't think he's available, but if he is available and it becomes an option, Man United getting him, if Man United don't get too many, then I think fans will be rightly disappointed and outraged. Unless Man United have suddenly like a complete pivot towards players we're really excited about, that's the only way I can see Man United fans being appeased by this. Otherwise, I think it's going to be annoying and disappointing. Guys, I'm probably going to finish up there. But if anyone's able to share the stream, click the like, all that sort of stuff, there will be a stream with G Wolf tonight covering the football. But again, feel free to jump in the comments with any Man United comments as well. Always appreciated. So Shaw will get an extension, right? If Shaw gets an extension, that does not make sense. That does not make sense as well. Yeah, if Too doesn't get an extension, yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, a good point as well. I don't see a problem with that either. I don't see a problem that Fabregas, Rooney, Ryan Giggs as a teenager, probably was Ryan Giggs about 17. I don't. For me, age is not an issue. It's like quality, isn't it? It's the quality they got. Boadi's got the quality, and I think he's got the ability to play in any league at all. That's why I'm saying because he was like better than Bruno Guimaraes and Casemiro. That's why I said I thought it was like impressive. But no, he's definitely going to say game. I think maybe the game's getting a bit more physical. Like I'm seeing a bit more being allowed recently. I'm seeing a bit more physicality in football. So I think Boadi would be fine as well because he'll just bulk up a bit as well. He's only a teenager. And again, he's kind of quite. Someone described his run as quite elbowy. So he's going to be like pretty decent. I think on in terms of this one as well. It might be. To be honest, I just get a bit skeptical of the whole thing. To be honest. Garnacho was primarily proven when Chelsea got him, but he was proven to be really inefficient for real, wasn't he? To be honest, actually, Chelsea buying Garnacho is the gift that keeps on giving because transfer fees are going up, but I don't think they're going to make any profit from Garnacho. He was like primarily proven to what to miss like 9 chances out of 10. That was what he was pretty. He was proved to be not good enough, really. Um, but no. But guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you can share it on socials, that's massively appreciated. But big thanks to everybody supporting the channel. Thanks to the moderators in the chat as well, and thanks to channel members for supporting the channel. And we'll be back live tonight. It might be about 7 p.m. So women's football is more physical than men's football today. I would say some of the challenges they're getting away from the World Cup, there's a bit more physicality, but no, I do think that maybe they're trying to get a bit more physicality into the sport because I'm seeing referees letting more stuff go. You're not getting the training on the pitch, otherwise you have to go off for a minute. Players are not play acting as much as they have been. Time wasting is down. So I think maybe football went too far with how it's gone, and I think we're trying to get it back to being. It may be some of the rule changes actually. I'll say this is my finishing point today. Some of the rule changes in the World Cup regarding substitution speed, how long you take to take a throw in, to take a corner, the fighting in the box, the sort of time wasting by pretending to be injured. All this sort of crap is being cut down on, and it's made the game a bit more watchable. Like, say, Premier League won't have these ridiculous advert breaks, the hydration breaks, whatever they're pretending they are. And I think football might speed up a little bit, which could be a good thing as well. So getting players like Boadi, players like that are more dynamic, more physical, more able to actually, better engines as well. I think Man United will be in a good place, and I think football might hopefully improve as well. As well, yeah, hair pulling is obviously pretty bad, isn't it? But big up to for people that just found the channel today as well. Craig, great to see you back, Craig. And people that, if you see people in other, if anyone can find, try to think, if anyone can find John Wayne and a few people that used to be in a part of the community, Hopefully we can get these people back as well. But have a great rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the World Cup matches if you're watching any. Don't forget to tune back in here at probably about 7 p.m. ish, I think, whenever G Wolf's starting, or maybe like 7:30. Well, probably like an hour before kickoff is usually the stream starting time. And we will catch you guys then. Until then, have a great rest of your day. I'm off to get some ice cream, and I'll see you guys in the next one.